Hello, interested everyone. Welcome to class 11 biology. In this video on chapter 15 plant growth and development, we are going to discuss about differentiation, dedifferentiation and redifferentiation. And then we will talk a little bit about plant development. Now on the first go, don't be scared of these huge biology terminologies. Okay, mazuki kengwe seri naulo yuebe kita de thanye ringu ringu dine thongni kiranzu share marta lo. So these are very simple concepts, right? Ngaranzu zinde chukchi ki level chedo, these are simple concepts. But if you go into higher classes, when you have to study the details about these phenomenon or these processes, then it may get a little bit complicated. Otherwise, for your class 11, these terminologies, don't be scared, they are very simple to understand. Okay, differentiation ana khar lagiyo mein, de-differentiation ana khar lagiyo mein, redifferentiation ana khar lagiyo mein, di very simple here. Okay, so let's start. Differentiation la di kiranzu lel ho chin go sunyi tu yo bin by na. We are talking about cellular differentiation. Ta angzi nalo le differentiation la jor ta di da tewa yo mare. Ela ngazu khar lago re cellular differentiation gala ke show. Right, when we talk about differentiation, we are talking about cellular differentiation. Wa ta ngazu plant gi cellular differentiation gala ke jam machine ne. Wa ngazu animal cellular differentiation gala ke show. Mixe gi human body nalo la. So we all know that we have arisen or we have developed from a single cell called as zygote. Zygote ne chung gyor wang so. One zygote cell the divide che ni jela harchigre we are composed of trillions of cells, and those trillions of cells, they differ in their structure, they differ in their functions. So we are made up of different types of cells. Ngazu supu di thabu manda group sha gyor. So they can they see do muscle cell ge yore, fat cell ge yore, bone cells yore, blood cells yore, nervous cells yore, epithelial cell, immune cell. So all these cells, they have arisen from a zygote, right? So zygote jigne chongyoro. So konzu sangma sopta mandaada, konzu gi keju mandaada, ani konzu gi lengye mandaadi khandes chare lawi na through the process of cellular differentiation. So cellular differentiation is the process in which a cell changes from one cell type to another, right? And usually the cell changes to a more specialized type. Oh, mix special ta mena chashana muscle cell do jin baina ani khokhran special cell do chadu gor khokhran ki lengen so kharche je movement da den su chedu imba sonza wa so they become a specialized type from a previous cell, right? So deep chai duo do jo marwe dilanga zu khar la gore cellular differentiation la gor seo chung so the basic concept dirta cellular differentiation na khalla gore cell type chig ne chig le gyo do age minde dila cell differentiation la gore ani cell differentiation di khatu ne khandis chungurla na a cell changes into a more specialized type, special structure, special function you usually do. So this is cell differentiation. Now when we talk about cellular differentiation in plants, right? Cellular differentiation in plants I have told you that plants, they have got unlimited growth potential. Why? Because they have got meristems, and meristems, they are located in different regions, apical, cambium lani ro. So apical imba na plant giringdu pargre, cambium na plant gi shanga bargiwa. So meristems you kengi and plant grow chigiwa. So meristems, or the cells which are present in these regions, these tissues, they have got the potential to divide. Divide chilu zambala division ngazuta dinye video na ngazuta imba. So it can divide, and sometimes it maintains its potential to divide further, and sometimes it becomes a mature cell mature charuwa. So the chaya process tinanga zo khar lagor lawim ba na differentiation lagor ta penishana meristem ne, if it changes into a cell with a specific function, a specific structure, both living and dead, in chawim ba na the process chomarwe dilanga zo khar lagor, it is called as differentiation. Okay, and di para la khadu chu khar chungor la when differentiate ge chigore nyamdo la kharcha dure cell di mature ge cha dur ta kiran zo loktem na lo example kharite ore differentiation ge example kharite ore la wi na an apical meristem, when it divides and gives rise to a trachary element or tracheids la ngazu gi xylem na lo yo gi tracheids la gi ani cell ichag yo bimena meristem ne ko gyuwa du yo bimena di gyuwa do dan di khandes re differentiation khandes re mature khandes chagre la bimena cellular changes khar khar yungure la bimena ro the meristematic cells, when it gives rise to a trachary element, the meristematic cell, it loses its protoplasm. Cytoplasm la gorda. Cell membrane the cell nanglo yogi ni cytoplasm dige sama ya domba yimena ko harcha dure protoplasm cha duro. So meristem ne trachary element cha du zambala. The meristematic cell, it loses its protoplasm and then it develops a very tough lignified cell wall. Cell wall nanglo la kisi lignin gi content mangbu yobi na ani cell dikha cha dure tough sa ru thau ru ani it becomes elongated. Okay, so then it becomes a trachary element or tracheates like you do special conditions. It is specialized to provide not just the structure but it also helps in the transportation of water over long distance. Chu ya ma khie chu ro ba ta so di chi go trachary elements de ge ani trachary elements ki cell dige de cell chi elongated cell de chi khane chungyor la na meristematic cell ni chungyor. Meristematic cell the living cell the ani kharchigre it loses its protoplasm, that means it dies. Okay, and then it develops a very thick lignified cell wall and then it becomes tracheates, right? So meristematic cell giwa doeg process the lakhala gore it is called as differentiation. So meristematic cell differentiates into a trachary cells or trachary element. So this couple kharchido meristematic cell, it gives rise to a dead cell, right, with a special function. Now sometimes the meristematic cell, it can differentiate into a living cell as well. For example, parenchymatous cell do chawi bana chlorus khare manju ki chloroplast yo tinde cell into yo manju leaf na la yore manju ki stem na la yore. So if meristematic cells, it give rise to a parenchyma cell, right, then that is also called as differentiation because the cell, it becomes a specialized type of cell. So differentiation ana seu chungswa it differentiates and it matures. So differentiation in plants che. So tadin dijala khariore we have dedifferentiation and redifferentiation. So differentiation la de seu gotso yo bi na dedifferentiation the redifferentiation pe le lo re. The living differentiated cells tanyela so differentiation kab du khari give rise to re specialized cell khandi ro li lawe mana ya men living cell in sigre ya men dead cell in sigre. Dead cell example khare do tracheates re do. Living cell example ni khala so parenchyma cell la so ta kisi parenchyma cell chik a parenchymatous cell and khane chungyo re meristematic cell the differentiate chini parenchymatous cell charo living cell. If that parenchymatous cell, right, who has lost its capacity to divide, parenchymatous cell the divide chitu marislar ine under certain conditions condition ne da khashe jig wala kisi parenchymatous cell di ani divide che capacity to regain che na, or if it regains the capacity to divide, if the parenchymatous cells, which is a differentiated form of cell, a permanent cell, and if that regains its property of cell division, then this is called as dedifferentiation. And scientists manguchigi in laboratory conditions, they induce the parenchymatous cell to redivide. And the dedifferentiation chadu. That particular process is called as dedifferentiation. And the differentiation lana karimbe meristematic cell ne any permanent cell mature cell to chagyo bimbe na dilanga zu khalegre differentiation lagro. Dedifferentiation lana khala ore kisi mature cell chik meristematic cell yang divide che yo gi niba de yo cell ji rangja chaw bimbe na dilanga zu khala ore dedifferentiation la ore. Example kharte do formation of meristems, for example interfascicular cambium and cork cambium from a fully differentiated parenchymatous cells. Parenchymatous cells chi khane chungyo re meristem ne chungyo ro differentiation chungje. Isi parenchymatous cell chi meristem la pha gyua do bimba na interfascicular da cork cambium la pha gyua do bimba na dilanga zu khara la ore dedifferentiation la ore. Seu chung so the dedifferentiation che. Now ta yang ji gyor da ta thanda meristem la pha gyurgyo chomare yang ko yang differentiate cheni ya permanent cell chi gyur du yo bimba na dila khala re redifferentiation la. So nyela sa thanji kiranzo differentiation ya bo gotso bimba na dedifferentiation the redifferentiation la di pele lor. If the dedifferentiated meristems divides and gives rise to a specific mature cell that again loses its capacity to divide, the process is called as redifferentiation. So you can look at this particular diagram and you can understand easily. Differentiation lana kharre do, de-differentiation lana kharre do, ya redifferentiation lana kharre do. Okay, so these terms are very intuitive in understanding. Okay, the final structure at the maturity of the cell or tissue, it is also determined by the location of the cell or the cells within the tissue. Okay, example the cells which are positioned away from the root apical meristem. So root apical meristem teliorda dinalola. Okay, so let me change pointer option. So root apical meristem la the cell dige sama dinalior. Wow, so these are the root apical meristematic cells. Okay, so this cell dige nalone with the cells which are away from the root cap cells. So penetration diwalo yo chumare root away the cells which are positioned away from the root apical meristems. Right, ko kharcha dure root cap cells charur. So root cap cells digere. And those which are pushed to the periphery lan sulap hatyo wi by na. Periphery lan ngazu khalo ore pa boundary monjol hatyo wi na la warda. So those which are pushed to the periphery, it becomes epidermal cells or epidermis like you do. Right. So the khalla war dinalola the final structure, right, the cell differentiate cheni and ko special cell kharla gyurgudo the khari gi tha chirela na ko gi position gi tha chiresla penechasha we mena root apical meristem gi the cells which are away from the root apical meristems, right, they become root cap cells, right, whereas those which are to the periphery, they become epidermis. Okay, so epidermis la gyurudwa so dire and next, let's talk about development. Let's talk a little bit about development. So development, what does it mean? It includes all the changes. Development includes all the changes that an organism undergoes during its life cycle. Right? All the changes that an organism undergoes during its life cycle. Organism plant we have to talk from seed to its old form, right? So seed it germinates. Germination is also a form of development, right? And then it becomes a plant, right? It becomes a young plant. That is also development. And then the plant grows old. Senescence lana so the plant grows old. That is also a form of development. So figure number 15.8 you can see the sequence of the developmental process in a plant cell, right? So start with meristematic cell. Meristematic cell ne ani plasma ko ginalo yogi ta protoplasm dige sama grow cheni. It differentiates. The cell divides, then cell differentiates, then differentiated cell it becomes large through expansion. Vacuole nalo chuma bucha wimba na cell di cheru du gore laimba. Ani cell wall dige the process the expansion and elongation, then it becomes mature, and the mature cells later on it undergoes aging. Senescence nana aging. And then later on the plant will die. Plant cells, they have got the potential of unlimited growth. Plant la unlimited growth ka jigi nuba yorete ine moyo la yo nature nalo la plant unlimited growth chedigre la na chedigmar because every living organism they die ultimately, right? So due to nutritional limitations, right, space limitations, any factor shimba manguji la kembegi ani cell de zu khachigre divide cheg nuba de la dure la do ni khachigre gengwa chane ni thame tawju thong dur. So the entire process the kharcha dure la wemba na development chadur, right? And in the life of a plant, growth, differentiation and development, these six growth, differentiation and development, they are three closely related events. Development is the sum total of plant growth and differentiation. Development lana kharit sugore, growth the differentiation nigot sugor. Growth the differentiation domni kharcha dugore, plant development chadugor. So plant the development the sugi control chigore la there are two factors which controls the development of plant. Plant ki growth the differentiation data control change me wala korang khatang khoju yuwato de yomarwa. So the development is under the control of two factors, intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. Chik korangi supun nanglo la nyuba jomare intrinsic lan nanglo la or internal wa koran nyuba nanglo ni nyuba yo jomare development to agi nyuba jorwa dik intrinsic che ani chilo ne ya kenche teche yuwa do jomare dik hare extrinsic factors chadu or extrinsic lan chilo la or external factors. So external factors nga juding erike je shemba. We talked about oxygen, water, light, temperature, nutrition, all these things. I also told you to find out some macronutrients and micronutrients. Kena zu tongso inang lola minerals tamana mabupe gudo asani go yonde. And carbon dioxide, water, right? All these things are required. Okay, so these are extrinsic factors, and these factors they affect the plant developmental process, right, through outer external the external factor la chilo ni kente la worwa. Now second type dikhare intrinsic factors dikerda. Intrinsic factor la khalo there are two types, intracellular and intercellular. Intracellular la dizambala khoi gi gene nanglo la genetic shir we are talking about DNA. Plant khorangi DNA nanglo la ani developmental process khar khar dogo yeme jumarwe. The intracellular factors chador genes are the factors, right? Some plants they have got the potential to develop into very tall trees, whereas some plants they do not have that particular potential to develop into very tall trees ko kharchire small trees like yure yin ige some khare jing gi tha je or so. And then intercellular la dizamala cell ni gi barala phasu talente che ani develop chigi yobi by na. If let's say one cell is telling the other cell to divide, or one cell is telling the other cell to differentiate, then the kharcha dure intercellular chatur cell chig ni chigla phasu talente gi do the khari gi gyuni chingirela na sa cell ke je shedu marwa. So they send chemicals such as growth regulators. So we will be talking about growth regulators in our next video. Okay, so intercellular ladizambala, these are the factors, chemical factors which helps in the plant development process. Okay, teacher, so next we are going to talk about plant growth regulators. So please read about plant growth regulators before you watch the next video. But before I end, concept plasticity la digala. Competitive examination plasticity la kharla gores. So plants they follow different pathways in response to environment or phases of life to form different kinds of structures. Plant korangi development ki ani nge thanji khalla so chilo gi kembeki chilo gi factor gi kembeki kol yuwa duore la so tadi ngose dewji delyor plasticity la di tungur enashana heterophyly, which is an example of plasticity in plants, right? Heterophyly lana khala ore. For example, in cotton, coriander, and larkspur like plant den zunanglola hariore. Plants they give rise to different shapes of leaves, right? When it is young, it gives a different shape of leaf. When it is adult, it gives a different shape of leaf. Larkspur like sishinj to. So you lomata du zambala. Juvenile hindu zamba juvenile lana khala ore. When it is young, when it is very young, it gives rise to a different shape of leaves, right? Whereas when it becomes adult, when it becomes old, it gives a different shape of leaves. Phases la it depends upon the phase of its life. Ko young resha, old resha, dile shisha che loma manda sugdo. Iya da loma cell chungsa chingni chungoro. Ine sobda manda chago yumze de kharla rale gorlana. It depends upon the phase of the life, the plant. And another example, buttercup lag is in the terrestrial habitat, it gives a different type of leaf, and in a water habitat, it gives a completely different type of leaf. This is sagala ne na ko loma dinde do chawore, chunal ne na loma dinde do chawore. Di khari gi tha chido, it depends upon the external environment. The plant, it seems as if it is responding to the environment. Tishin digi environment la response cheje anu ko loma manda syo ro sting do tishin chigre loma sobda manda syo gore loma sobda manda syo go yumzen dikhare the development de la sugi shugen chungre la wim bana environment gi shugen chung yo so di ability de la plant di khora chigi shugen gi kembe gi ko gi response manda de gi nyuba de la ngazu kharla gore plasticity la gore the ability of the plants to follow or respond differently, right, to the environment or the phases of its life. It is called as plasticity. Example ngazu kharitena digre heterophyly. Hetero lana manda la wore faili la win bena ngazo da loma dinzo la wor loma sobda manda lo la pa besu ya ta ani neta la pa besu ya dila heterophilia sa heterophilia khari ke example re plasticity ke example re so please remember this concept as well in the plant development. Okay, so next ngazu khar che la so plant growth regulators kana chahe la so please read about plant growth regulators main khar re plant hormones kana re phytohormones kana auxin gibberellin la da din zo yore abscisic acid and konju ki effect khar khar tege me plant ki development kana effect positive tege do negative tege do ro ditare penetration mi je ya grow cha women growth hormone gu yo tinang shi plant ya grow che wo be na plant la hormone gu go re hormone khandi ki plant growth la roba chi do penetration na shingdo ro se wo yo bi ma na ya khar go hormone gu go so these are growth regulators. So please read about plant growth regulators before you watch the next video. Okay, thank you.